So what is a tough part of in-betweening an animation like this? So there are two main types of in-betweening. So we can in-between in the middle. So a lot of effects in-betweening is in-between in the middle, which means that we have this frame A, we have this frame B, and we're creating this in-between, which uses spacing right between these frames. So for example, this is frame A, this is frame B, and we'll make an in-between right in the middle between them. Or we have this edge, then becomes this edge, so we find paths of each part and put the in-between roughly in the middle between these parts. Now, where it becomes a bit tough, when we're animating a falling or jumping object, we're animating a bouncing ball, but everything in the animation is a bouncing ball. So every edge, every mass is its own bouncing ball with its own delay and arc or pass. And so, as we know, the bouncing ball physics is bound to slow down at the top and acceleration on the way down. So when we are going up, we have to slow down, and when we go down, we have to accelerate. So if we are in between, we also have to keep that in mind, because if we don't do that, we'll lose weight. We'll have the transitions which have the same spacing, for example, or we can lose the contrast at the start and make it too even, and then suddenly it gets faster in the middle or whatever. So let's carefully examine what we have here, and then we can see what we can push. So we start here. Okay, we have this edge, and this is the keyframe. So with this key, let's look at the next key, at the next key, at the key after that, which will be here. So remembering about the slowdowns and accelerations to make it work the best in between this. So let's numerate the frames 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Remembering about this curve, we should put this so that it creates a bit of deceleration. So it put 2 here. Let's change the color. So I'll put 2 here. To create deceleration, I'll put 4 here. Again, so the spacing gradually decreases with each frame. Maybe even further. And this can be even further, just a tiny bit. To create a deceleration here, I also push it slightly further. And to create the slowdown at the top so that we can accelerate on the way down, let's continue our keyframes. What do they tell us? So the frame here, the frame here, so 9, 11, 13, 15. To create a sense of slowdown acceleration, I will put the frame here, or here if we are talking about the slowdown, so that we create the slowest part of the curve, this one, so that we can create acceleration on the way down. So maybe here or here. This is our choice range. To create an acceleration, I will put it here so that we accelerate on the way down. I'll put it here so that we accelerate on the way down. I'll put it here so that we accelerate on the way down. Maybe a bit more even. And these are not perfect keys, so of course, ideally I would adjust the position of 9 because it's going way too fast. So I would put 9 probably higher by a tiny bit so that we have this section of the curve, the acceleration. So 6, 7, 8, 9 will be here, 10 will be here, 11 will be here, 12, 13, and so on. And that's how we'd approach this. Now let's push this to the side so that we can compare what you have here, and let's examine that. So you have this. This is way too low, because if we do it that way, we won't create this fastest transition. So this part. This is pretty good. You can see that we are creating this deceleration. This could be a bit higher, but this is pretty close. And this frame is too low, and because of that we create too much change here. You see how fast we go, and then we go and accelerate. No, we go slow down. Then we slow down even more, and then we accelerate a lot and slow down. So because of the placement of these two in-betweens, the very top one, this one, it should be way, way, way higher. And this should be way, way, way higher. You see this in-betweens. So we need to make sure that we don't create this kind of pattern where we constantly go from acceleration to deceleration and things like that. Slow down, and you see acceleration, then slow down, acceleration, slow down, acceleration, 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 slow down, acceleration. So that's what we have to keep in mind. Especially, we need to keep in mind that we need to preserve the fastest and the slowest points the most, because they're the most noticeable. If we miss the spacing by a bit in the middle, it's not as noticeable. But if we mess up the biggest contrast at the start or the biggest slowdown at the end, we will instantly miss on a lot of contrast and spacing and in the timing, and this will be very noticeable in the animation. So these are the things to be worried about the most. The other thing that you can observe and notice is the transitions of the secondary masses. So if we look here, okay, this works fine. Now let's look where it goes. Here, you see, we have this issue of this mass doesn't actually move. So see, it goes up and it instantly goes down. And then we have this. So the tough choice that we have to make here is how to get this mass. And trying to logically analyze what we have, it's most probable that this mass becomes this mass. And this mass becomes this mass. So we messed up the order a bit, and we added additional mass that confuses the motion and makes it stop in the middle. So it appears it goes down, goes up even faster, slows down, accelerates, slows down, accelerates, slows down, accelerates. So we have to be really careful with this one because it basically has the same pattern as the mouse we analyzed. This one, again, I think we are missing the slowest part at the top. So we go, slow down. We slow down way too much. Probably on the key too. And then we go fast, way too fast. So 1, 2, super fast, instantly super slow, fast. So this in between should be higher and closer to the frame at the top, so that we don't suddenly accelerate, immediately decelerating after. And this in between is way too low. So 1, 2, 3. This is slow down, and then huge acceleration with a slowdown. So this in between should be much higher. And I think this in between too. Considering keys, our in betweens should be 1 to create this acceleration, 2 to still create the acceleration so much higher, and a bit more to the tops to still create acceleration. And here we can probably place it over here and a bit lower. So this is a tough part about animating an in-between in water, because every single particle, every single droplet has its own curve. And it really helps to draw the curve for each part and try to analyze its existing spacing. So for example, here we go 1. We should probably keep this at the same place yet. So this part reacts, but this bottom part hasn't reacted yet. Maybe we can treat it like that. Now let's draw the keys. So 1, 2, so here the in-between should probably be a bit higher, so that we can create again this acceleration at the start. Let's look here. So 1, 2. In between should probably be higher, just a bit higher, to create a sense of deceleration, maybe even higher, because we want the spacing to be decreasing a bit, not to be entirely even. And see here the frame is too close to the previous key, so we get sudden slowdown, acceleration. So it should be higher to create a sense of the slowdown again. So this is a tough part about animating and in-betweening. So usually the in-betweens are in the middle for the scenes that follow a very consistent pace. So when we were learning about even wave motion, when we were animating waves that moved at even speed, it was like that. With something that is moving on an acceleration or deceleration, usually the in-betweens are annotated. So for example, you can have this. So this is frame A, frame B. And usually there will be annotation. So if this is something like this, or like, so the in-between should be in the middle. Here, the in-between should favor the first frame. The in-between should favor this frame. By favor, I mean it should be closer. So you can roughly decide. So this is like 1/4, or this is like 1/4. It can be 1/3. So something like that. And it's just a guide. If there is no guide, there are two approaches. We either map the path and try to see what is the motion that we already have and then place the in-between so that we don't create any clash in the motion, meaning no additional sudden decelerations and accelerations. So we follow the same pattern of the motion, just adding extra info. Or if we don't have any idea, or it is way too complicated, we in between in the middle, and it won't work great, but it will work okay.